Give me one moment. I'm going to take the misdemeanor files out of here.
Luke, I just emailed you about David Kidd.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dog's been gone since you've been gone.
Pardon?
The dog has been gone since you've been gone. Yeah. All right.
All right, we're back for another round. Let me align my waterfall here, foul here. Thank you all for waiting. No one's noticed. I've been wearing the same tie for about 47 days, but today, in honor of the spring sunshine, I got a yellow tie on, and nobody even said anything.
Nice tie, Your Honor.
That's called fishing for compliments. All right, let me get things situated here. Thank you for your patience.
Your Honor, I'm a little confused about David Kidd. It doesn't look like there was an attorney appointed for him unless it was done recently.
Well, let me take a look.
And it's one of those where it's an e-ticket, so I don't have anything in OnBase that I can access. So I was just looking in sessions.
I had a pre-trial with him on the traffic matter. So let's take a look. My sheet shows that Luke is his attorney.
So Luke has Andrew Kidd
I have
today.
Andrew Kidd. And
No, David Kidd and Andrew Kidd are two different people. Oh, gee whiz, I've been the guy all this time. Mr. Kidd's got a traffic case. I thought he had he's got a violation of a restricted license, and he wanted to establish that he has a valid license. So he's been, let me get Casey back in here. Mr. Kidd, I apologize. You've been here all morning watching court. You stay right where you are for the time being. All right, let's talk to Mr. Pritchard. And then we'll talk to Mr. Salter, and then we'll start to deal with our in custody inmates. We had to get them out by lunch. This is file 21599FY, People versus Walter John Pritchard. That you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Let me get your file up here. This case alleges that on or about March 19th, you did resist or obstruct Officer Eric Piper of the Three Rivers Police Department, and you were a disorderly person at Brewster's Wing Shack. We used to get a lot of that. That's a misdemeanor. Now, the first one is a felony punishable by up to 2 years in prison. The other one is just a 90-day misdemeanor. The prosecutor has agreed to dismiss both of those charges for a plea to attempting to resist or obstruct a police officer. Is that correct, Ms. Davis?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the plea will be by no contest.
That was my understanding.
Yes.
All right, so let me explain. By pleading no contest, you don't admit what happened, but you also don't deny it. And you allow or accept that a conviction will enter. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Attempted resisting obstructing a police officer is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail. And a fine of up to $1,000. Debbie, I can't open that email you sent me. It's encrypted somehow.
I can resend it regular. Sorry.
Do you understand that by pleading to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me stop you for a moment. Casey, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I didn't have my name straight, and Mr. David Kidd is here for a driving case. He was charged with driving with violation of a restricted license. He claims that he had a valid license from another state and he wanted to talk to somebody about it. So could you meet with him?
Absolutely.
All right, thank
Thanks,
you.
Casey.
Mr. Kidd, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Casey. All right, Mr. Pritchard, I'm sorry, I got two things going on. Learn to dribble with either hand. Mr. Kidd, you need to join. There he goes. All right, do you understand that if you plead to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial and there will be no trial? Do you understand that? Sir?
Mr. Pritchard.
Mr.
I think you said
Pritchard?
Mr. Kidd.
Oh, Mr. Pritchard?
Now he's on
No.
mute.
You need to unmute your mic.
Okay.
All right, there you go. I apologize. I've been doing several things at once and it can be confusing. Poor litigants waiting. All right, do you understand that by pleading to this charge, you're giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Knopfinger has been appointed to represent you. You could also hire an attorney of your own choosing if you wish. If you had a trial, you'd have the right to take the witness stand and testify on your own behalf, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify, and if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. And you have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that by pleading no contest, you don't admit, but you also don't deny and allow that a conviction would enter?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see, Debbie sent me, the first one was top secret and I couldn't open it. Rooster's Wing Shack used to be known as Paisanos, and for many years led the league in bar fights all over St. Joe County. Also had more drunk driving arrests than anywhere. The last few years, it's been much more subdued. It's turned into kind of more of a restaurant than a bar. Do you remember anything about it, Mr. Pritchard?
No, sir.
What were you there for a celebration, a birthday or something?
No. I basically worked for 30 days straight down in Virginia, and I got home, got everything situated, and decided to go out and have a few drinks. And that's about all I remember.
What were you drinking?
There are selections of IPA, and probably a few shots of whiskey, I guess. I'm not really positive.
Do you know what IPA stands for?
High levels of alcohol, I guess.
No, it's called India Pale Ale is what it stands for, but but it does sometimes have more alcohol than other beers. I'm going to accept your plea. I'm going to set this for sentence. What do you do, Mr. Pritchard?
I'm with a company that does government contracts. I cook for Marines, Special Forces, when they're doing their candidate selection process down in Virginia.
Yeah, he is
set
to leave soon.
All right. Well, you can connect by Zoom on May 19th.
Your Honor, the PBT results from his booking into jail were .22.
Well, you did it up pretty good.
And that was after being at the hospital for observation for a while, so it must have been a little high.
Yeah, as I indicated, the Russos who own the place have really tried to clean it up and turn it into a nice restaurant rather than a bar fight place, so they don't really want this kind of thing happening in there. Seems kind of out of character for you, Mr. Pritchard. We had a guy that worked here in court years ago, Everett Pritchard. Was that your grandfather?
What was the name?
I believe his name was Everett Pritchard.
No, sir. It's a long story on the last name, so.
All right.
Most likely not.
Did you have a brother?
No, I have one older sibling, a girl.
All right. Well, I'm going to find out more about this, more about you, and we'll get a better look at the police report, set up for sentencing May 19th at 11 a.m. All right, Mr. Pritchard, you're good to go on about your business.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Real quick, am I allowed to do this job in Virginia?
But may leave a state for employment purposes.
I can? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
Your Honor,
I appreciate
there's
it.
still the no drinking and no drug clause, correct?
Yes, I understand that.
Those remain in effect.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Pritchard, you're good to go.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Salter, then we're going to do yours. Casey, how'd you do with Mr. Kidd?
We did all right. I'm not sure if he's still. I told him to click
I'm
back.
trying to bring him back in. It's going to take a minute. when
I
I get
offered,
more, go ahead.
I offered Mr. Kidd a civil infraction of impeding traffic. He indicated he would accept it.
All right, Mr. Salter, don't go away. I'm gonna delete these rooms here. Mr. Kidd, we've got one leftover misdemeanor case from this morning because the judge got mixed up. You're charged with violation of a restricted license. You posted a $350 bond. The prosecutor is going to reduce the charge to impeding traffic, which is a $105 fine. It doesn't affect your driving privileges. Do you understand?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right. All right, fine and costs, 105. Take from bond. Let's see if you owe me anything else. I don't even know where that sheet is. I've been so. All right, return balance of bond. Do you still live on Cecilia Street?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
You're breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence daily. All right, you're good to go, Mr. Kidd. We'll send you the balance of your bond.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sure he had no idea what I was talking about, but he gets his money.
Well, it'll be a pleasant surprise for him.
He's gonna go Google it and be like,
That song is on the Bridge Over Troubled Water album from 1970. He doesn't know what I was talking about, but Cecilia. All right, Mr. Salter, thank you for waiting patiently. This is a little complicated, but we're all over complicated. There are two files here, 20704FY and 201921. Let's do the easy one first. In 1921, you're charged with larceny of building. That's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 4 years in prison. And I used to get charged quite a bit. Not so much anymore, but it is still on the books. They're going to reduce that to a charge of larceny under 200?
yes,
Is that
Your
correct?
Honor.
Yes.
Trying to find a complaint. Well, I don't have a complaint, but I have the affidavit. Here it is down here. It was on April 26th of last year. You were at the Sturgis Hospital, and on the way out, you took an EpiPen and some other medications off a hospital cart.
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you satisfied with the plea, Lou?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, boy. Uh, did you do any of this stuff?
No, I didn't. No.
You don't know what it was.
The police were able
Well-
to catch up to him, Your Honor, and recovered the items before anything tragic happened.
All right. So, well, I'm glad you didn't. Lonnie swept the playroom and he swallowed up all he found. It was 48 hours before Lonnie came around. You don't want to just take a bunch of random drugs, so I'm glad you didn't. All right, well, hold on to this one for a minute. The next case alleges home invasion, first degree, and another larceny building. Let's scope this one out. We've had people just taking things that they steal out of a medicine cabinet or find somewhere and take it, and not real good results. This one alleges that on or about March 11th, you broke into Alma Salter's house. Who is that?
It's my grandma. I lived at the same address.
All
I
right.
just, yeah.
And you stole a computer, a ring, and a debit card. And that is a plea to use of methamphetamine and larceny under $200. So that's
Yeah.
a bit of a different plea here. Use of methamphetamine is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $2,000. Larceny under 200 is a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. Just like the last case, I went through the advice of rights here on the record. Did anyone promise you anything other than this plea agreement to get you to plead to this?
No, sir.
All right, on or about that day, way last March, had you been using methamphetamine,
Yes, sir.
which is why you were stealing this stuff?
Yeah, yes.
And did you take some property that belonged to your grandma? A debit card and a ring or anything?
It was just ended up being, it was just a ring, and the other stuff I had, but they have back.
What happened to the ring?
The ring I ended up giving to a friend, and she pawned it.
All right, what are you doing now, Mr. Salter?
I work for Utility Master. I've been sober since about that date of the hospital. About a week after that, I just had enough.
You seem pretty good today.
Yeah, I haven't done it. I haven't drank or done drugs in almost a year.
Are you on probation or parole?
No, sir.
He does still have a pending misdemeanor assault and battery. I think it's set in another couple of weeks.
I think maybe on Thursday.
Is it? Okay.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Assault battery set for Thursday the 15th. Well, he's got a lot of baggage on his criminal record. I guess I'd like to know more about this. What's up with this one, too? He's not paying on a retail fraud that he owes on. $150 fine. So I'm gonna get some more information before I do this. I'd like to see both police reports. How about Monday, May 10th at 11?
Okay.
Does that
Yeah,
work for
that'll-
you?
It does, Your Honor.
Need police report.
Your Honor, did you
I'll set
say that you would like
both.
the police report?
Yes.
Sure. Are you doing the sentencing for the other case on the same date, and would you like that police report as well?
Yes, I would, thank you. Both cases are set for Monday, May 10th at 11 a.m. The police report with 20704 FY Works Utilmaster. Utilimaster used to have a lot of meth out on the shop floor. How is that?
I don't work on the line. I work in the SSD part of it. And right now they put me on leave just so I can take care of all this stuff. I mean, have to take care of this first before I go back.
All right, well, we're not going to take care of it till May 10th, so I apologize. I'm going to be gone for a few days. And I'll be back by then. All right, do you have any questions?
Oh, no, sir.
All right, you stay in contact with your attorney, Mr. Nossinger, and I'll see you on May 10th at 11 a.m. It will be by Zoom like this once again.
Okay.
Good job.
All right, you're good to go. Thank you for your patience.
Yep.
All right, now I think the rest of our clients are a captive audience. Let me look at your email.
I think Dylan Fenning bonded out.
Well, he's not
Curious
here.
if he's
So we
appeared or
have,
not.
who do we need to see? Andrew Kidd, Keith Wallace, Terry Kelly, Abigail Adams. Hello, this is Judge Middleton calling. We finished our non-custody people. Deborah Davis would like you to bring some people into the breakout room, or into the Polycom room. We got several we need to speak to, but let's start with Andrew Kidd, Keith Wallace, Terry Kelly, and Abigail Adams.
Okay, I will get them done.
All right, Debbie says thank you.
Yeah, okay. Bye.
Thanks, bye. You said thank you, Debbie.
I did.
Laura, could I have bindovers on Andrew Kidd and Keith Wallace, please? My back is tired from sitting in this chair. while we're waiting, we did have 2 pretrials or arraignments this morning on Kimberly Arnold. And I don't know what happened at her pretrial. I don't think it was resolved. Misdemeanors. What's the plea on Abigail Adams?
She is
Use.
pleading to use of meth.
How about Terry Kelly?
She's pleading to attempt RNO.
And Kidd and Wallace are waivers. We gotta talk to Jason Ken. Dylan Fenning, we have reason to believe he bonded out, but he isn't here.
I checked the jail roster and he's not in. He bonded out. He did leave a phone number at booking and I just emailed that to
Let
you.
me call him. Good morning. This is Judge Middleton calling for Dylan Fenning.
Yeah,
Mr. Fenning, you're supposed to be in court this morning.
yeah, I called my attorney and asked him how I go exactly about doing the Zoom. I just got a phone this morning.
All right,
I went to go get my mom's.
all right. Well, here we go again. Let me give you, I want you to call your lawyer and he will give you the number to dial in.
Okay.
Last time I put it out, Christopher Poole dialed in, so let's call your lawyer, he's there in his office. And we don't want 4chan or 3.124chan. Anyway, just call your lawyer and he'll give you the number and we'll see you in a few minutes, okay?
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me, Christopher Poole? Someone pranked you? Oh, that's
They
terrible.
pranked it. I mean, it's not a secret number. Everybody that gets notice gets it, but I like that email you sent me the other day from Just the Lawyers.
What?
I'll share it with Debbie.
I'll send it to you, Debbie. It was kind of constructive.
It was a constructive criticism for.
Hey man, I can take constructive criticism. It's all right.
All right, well, we have a ways to go here, so, so Wallace, what are we doing with Daniel Anway?
Luke?
I think I'm getting a call from.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take it.
Nice ringtone. With Mr. Anway, there's been a misdemeanor offer, but he's a little perturbed. And so Luke thought maybe if there was a Cobb's agreement that he would potentially take it.
Does he have a Henway?
I don't know. He has an N-way to Noble County, Indiana, on multiple felonies.
Anyway, that's something different. All right, well, we'll see. We'll get him in eventually. Fenning's on the phone. Jason Hinn's in custody. How about Robert Russell?
He signed a waiver previously. Luke submitted it, I think, yesterday, and we received a copy.
How about Andrew Kidd?
He is going to be a waiver on the record.
He is. Then I've also got a Jeffrey Kidd, or Jeffrey Chapman. It's in the jail that I need to deal with at some point.
Oh, that's right. You said something about him yesterday.
Well, he was arrested with the person he's not to have any contact with. We'll fit him in here before we're done. Although, as you know, we come up against the 11 o'clock lunch hour. All right, here's the jail. What's up with this new view from the Polycom room? I saw it. Look at it.
Weird. They have a... oh, they must have put in a two-way mirror on that back instead of having plexiglass. Yeah.
It's very disconcerting. I saw it in Judge Patterson's courtroom yesterday.
That is weird.
Good morning, sir. What's your name?
I'm Abigail.
Oh, I apologize, Abigail. I can't hardly see you.
Yeah, the camera is not anywhere near where she's at.
Everything's all out of whack. The camera, I have a good shot of the back of your head, the way it is reflected, but we'll have to work on the jail staff and get them to reconfigure this. Anyway, Miss Adams, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You are Abigail Ann Adams?
Yes, sir.
We've met. I'm Judge Middleton. I'm here at the courthouse. Also present is your lawyer, Mr. Luke Knopfsinger, of Main Street, Three Rivers, and Ms. Deborah Davis from the prosecuting attorney's office. You're charged with possession of methamphetamine, which is a felony. You're going to plead, am I told, to a charge of use of methamphetamine, which is a misdemeanor. Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir.
Use of methamphetamine, as I indicated, is a misdemeanor. By pleading to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury. There will be no trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Knopfsinger has been appointed to represent you. You could also hire an attorney of your own choosing if you wished. If you had a trial, you'd have the right to take the witness stand and testify on your own behalf, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. And you have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand?
Yes.
Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
Someone broke into the jail in the dark of night and messed up the Polycom room. All we can see is the back of their head. The camera needs to be readjusted and moved down a little bit and zoomed in. Do you know how to do any of that?
Apparently, Deputy Bradford just advised me the camera won't move. She's trying.
All right. Well, Debbie will come out there with a hammer. But we'll just do the best we can. We'll have to ask the people to lean back. All right, thanks. Bye. Deputy Bradford, are you in there? All right.
Would
can't
that
really do anything till you guys are off the camera, so I can
Okay.
manipulate it. And even then, I really don't want to touch it right now because I don't even know if it's for sure. I don't want to break it right now. So,
All right, fair enough. I've been known to do, we'll just
I
do
mean,
the
the
best.
best thing I can do is possibly put something up here. Like, can you still see her face?
That's, I don't, apparently that's a new addition. It makes it very disconcerting. And then the person is very far away from the camera, and when they lean forward, all we see is the top of their head. So, we'll
Before we
the
do
best.
prelims, we're gonna have to have that fixed.
Yeah, we're gonna need something better.
Well, that better.
That's all
She's
right.
put.
Well, she's all right. We're just gonna need to zoom it in some.
Okay.
You're fine.
Yeah,
We'll make it through the morning. All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Miss Adams, let me check something. None of this is your fault. We're just having our usual logistical problems.
Murphy's Law.
Yes. You've been in jail for 13 days. You also have a PV warrant. What's the status of that?
Resolved. We
All
had
right, we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, use of meth, as I said, is that misdemeanor. Other than that, did anyone promise you anything to get you to plead to this?
No, sir.
Were you, let me go back to the complaint here. You were a passenger in a car driven by somebody else?
Yes.
Who was driving?
Lauren?
Lauren
Lauren,
Kaufman.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did they find some methamphetamine hidden on your person?
Yes.
Quite a bit, 9 grams. Did he give it to you to stash, or did you have it there?
Well, the meth was weighed in a container, and it appeared
With
that
packaging, yeah, it's hard to
Yeah.
tell, all right. Anyway, you had a small amount of methamphetamine in your possession. Is that correct?
Yes.
Had you used some?
Yes.
You seem quite clear-headed this morning. That's good for all of us.
I feel good.
Well, good. What do you do? When you're not in jail, what kind of work do you do?
I used to work in a tool and die room. I was a tool and die apprentice. I know how to weld. I worked in a pottery. Currently, though, I was unemployed.
All right, we did that DV. I gave you 12 days jail credit, 7/5 loss of deferral. So that's done. 2.
Abby also is a caretaker for her significant other who has stage 4 cancer.
All right. Yeah, we discussed that, and I asked her who's taking care of her right now, and she didn't know. And And that was the person in the domestic violence case. So for what it's worth, Abigail, you seem much better today than the last time I talked to you. I think 13 days in jail has done you some good. But I don't know what to do with you here. You're out riding around with this guy and your partner's struggling and you're in jail. Deborah, what's your thought here? She bombed the last probation. I'm reluctant to dive in again. What do you want me to do here?
Well, Your Honor, she doesn't have a significant criminal history. However, with methamphetamine, there's always the concern that they've been doing it for a while and then just finally got caught. Sounds like she's got a lot of stressors in her personal life. But this, the previous probation just was revoked recently. I guess I would leave it up to her and her counsel if they're going to request some sort of a probation. Other than that, with the first offense, meth charge, no prior drug charges, I would suggest that she be credited with time served and fines and costs. Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, she, I guess, would be eligible for a 7411 probation. She lost the deferral on the domestic violence case. What's your preference here, Luke?
Yeah, I agree with counsel, and we are seeking 7411 probation. I think the major difference here is when the wheels fell off of the DV probation, she, up to that point, had not spent a significant amount of time in jail, and that's made a difference for her. So, and I'm cognizant that, she had her DV probation revoked just last week, and then here we are asking for another term of probation. But she has spent a significant amount of time in jail here, and I think that was a wake-up call for her. I would ask for a term of probation and for time served at this point.
All right. We have not been real successful with our DV probations. I mean, we've been successful with DVs, not so much with meth. All right, I'm going to order 90 days jail, credit 13, and of the 90 days ordered, 77 are deferred. Miss Adams, you're going to get out of jail. There's a zero fine. And I don't want you to slide direct down the slippery slope that you're on. Your partner lives in Three Rivers, doesn't she, on like Erie Street?
180 Eastern Constantine.
Constantine, okay. 75, 50 crime victims rights fee, state minimum fee, $150 attorney fee, $480 probation oversight fee, and a 12-month probation. $125 plus $150 is $480, $755. You're going to have substance abuse counseling and treatment as directed, 12-step groups. Testing as directed, no drugs and alcohol. And I suggest you stay away from Mr. Kaufman.
I plan on it.
Don't stick methamphetamine in your bra.
I won't.
All right. Are you going to be at the same address and phone number when you get out?
What phone number do you have?
Ends in 2663.
Yes, sir.
Back at the 3rd Street address?
Yes, sir.
All right, they'll be contacting you. You're good to go, Miss Adams. You'll get booked out probably after lunch.
Thank you very much.
See you, Abby. Good luck.
Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
Mr. Fenning, I think, has joined us with his Union Jack. Do you need to speak to him, Mr. Knopfinger?
No, we spoke on the phone. We have a plan.
What are we doing with this one?
We're gonna leave it on. I represent Dylan at Raymond. We spoke briefly. Went to visit him at the jail. Fortunately, he bonded out. We did play some phone tag there. So our plan is for him to come to my office as soon as possible. Have an office conference. At this point, we're gonna leave the preliminary exam on.
Mr. Fenning, can you hear me? Mr. Fenning? You're in Becky's Galaxy. We're here in this one. Mr. Fenning, now he's frozen. Come on. All right, well, he's here. Leave for... Leave set for prelim, April 20th. I'll be otherwise occupied that day. Judge Pattison will handle that. All right, Mr. Fenning, can you hear me? I can't tell if he's frozen. No, he's just sitting there still. The sound is not on.
He stands mute, Your Honor.
All right, I guess he does. Call your lawyer. All right, he was here. That's enough of an appearance. We know he was there. I'll remove him and send him into Galaxy 851. Mr. Kelly will be with you here in just a moment.
Yes, sir.
Well, he's tripping the light fantastic there. We're trying to connect. The next matter is People versus Terry Lynn Kelly, file 21648FY. Are you Terry Kelly?
No,
Yes,
sir. I am. Oh.
What's your name? What's your name, sir?
I think that was the
Dylan.
Becky's Galaxy.
Dylan Sonny.
Mr. Fenning, you're screwing me up. Call your lawyer, all right? Your matter's set for prelim next Tuesday. First we had picture and no sound, now we got sound and no picture. So your case is set for next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Go into
At 1
Mr.
o'clock?
Knopf's office. What?
All right. All
All
right.
right. You're good to go.
Thank
Go
you.
see your lawyer.
All right. Thank
All right. Is that you, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, sir.
All right, the jail
Yes, sir.
picture is so small, and I blame Luke, but he says it wasn't him, so I don't know. Luke at the jail, not this Luke. Oh, I could blame him too. Until Miss Davis can go out there and hit it with a hammer, we're stuck. So anyway, I know you. I just talked to you yesterday, and I've known you for many years, but I can hardly see you. But
Yes, sir.
You're Terry Lynn Kelly, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You're charged with resisting and obstructing a police officer. That's a misdemeanor, or that's a felony, punishable by up to 2 years in prison. The prosecutors agreed to reduce that to a misdemeanor charge of attempting to resist, obstruct a police officer. That's punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Give me a minute here. Let me find your case. Mr. Kelly, I guess I talked to Jerry Kelly, not Terry Kelly, yesterday. So I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me go through the rights with you. Do you understand that by pleading to this charge, you're giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury? There'll be no trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Luke Nossinger has been assigned to represent you. You could also hire an attorney of your own choosing if you wish. If you had a trial, you'd have the right to take the witness stand and testify on your own behalf, but you don't have to. And you could not have your silence used against you. You'd have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court, and you have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Other than the plea agreement, did anyone promise you anything to get you to plead to this?
No, sir.
Or threaten you?
No, sir.
All right. Well, you were in the jail on some other charges, and you got into some sort of quarrel or disagreement with the corrections officers. What happened?
Mr. Bangman, Cody Bangman, asked me to pack my stuff. I asked him if I could talk with the SARS because I have seizures, and they were trying to put me in the West Wing, or South Wing, sorry, sir. And they don't have call buttons in there, and I have seizures. And due to an altercation last person tried to kick the door, and they told him to quit kicking the door, they were gonna lock him down. So I asked him if I could talk to the SARS, and he said no. He threw my tote and my bedding over by the door, and he come over and snatched me up by my arm. And I guess I tried to pull away from him or something, and he put me on my back. And I have like a signed paper with 10 witnesses on it, but I guess that I was not complying with his words. So that's why I got resisted.
You said, "I'm not packing my stuff for you, you stupid motherfucker," and it all went downhill from there.
Yes or no, I never said that to him. I was asked by the officers if I said that, and I never said that. And even the witnesses even said that. I never said that.
All right. Luke, anything to add?
It is true that Mr. Kelly suffers from seizures. He does have a current commitment until September. I'd ask the court not to
I thought his out date was June.
September.
I mean, that would come as a nice surprise, but
Oh, yeah, I show an out date of 6/4, but there may be some other stuff. All right, Debbie, anything to add?
Well, Your Honor, corrections officers have a very difficult job to start with, and it doesn't help when an inmate becomes combative or aggressive and refuses to do simple tasks like pack their things and move to a different cell. I understand maybe he wanted an explanation or wanted to have some input into it, but unfortunately, when you're incarcerated and the officer's asking you to do something simple, you can ask the questions once you're out, moving around and do it in a respectful manner. As far as the penalty, I mean, obviously he's in on other matters, but I'd ask the court to sentence him to 60 days for this particular instance. Thank you.
There was a video of it, but no audio. And so I don't know what you said to him. That's what Deputy Bingman said you said. But you don't have the inmates running the asylum or the jail. And if they tell you you gotta move, you don't cuss them out and give them a hard time, you move. You get 10 days, credit 0. Getting 10 days to serve consecutive to your other sentence. So when you're finished with your commitment, you got 10 more days to do minus good time. And so you get a little bit later in September. All right, it's consecutive rather than concurrent. All right, Mr. Kelly, you're good to go.
Thank you, Mr. Middleton.
Thank you.
Bye, Lou.
see you, Terry. Take it easy.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye, Deborah.
Next, we've got Andrew Kidd. There's a waiver, and Keith Wallace. There's a waiver. And then we need to talk to Anway, not Henway, and Robert Jason Hen. Somewhere I have a file on a Richardson who was a pretrial this morning, and I don't know if I have a file on it. He's gonna have to wait till after lunch, I think. If I bring it, he's not gonna. Wallace and Kidd are waivers, and we have to talk to Mr. Hen and Mr. Anway. We're on the home stretch. Laura, did I get my bindovers on Keith Wallace and Andrew Kidd? I don't remember if I asked for them. Good morning, sir. What's your name?
Andrew Kidd.
Good morning. This is Judge Middleton. I'm here at the courthouse in Centerville. Your lawyer, Mr. Luke Nossinger, is here with me. You can see him there on the screen. Also, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Deborah Davis. This is file 21651FY. We are live on YouTube and we're on the Zoom platform. You're charged with possession of methamphetamine, and it's my understanding that you're going to waive preliminary examination on that charge today and have the matter bound over to the circuit court. Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir.
All right. My bindovers are on the way. Let me read you that language. I, Andrew Nicholas Kidd, understand that I have a right to employ an attorney. I may request a court-appointed attorney if I'm financially unable to employ one, and you have done that. I have a right to a preliminary examination where it must be shown that a crime was committed and probable cause exists to charge me with the crime. I have the right to a preliminary examination and understand that I will be bound over to the circuit court on the charges in the complaint and warrant. Is that what you wish to do?
Yes, sir.
All right, the matter is bound over to the circuit court. It'll be set for a status conference before Judge Stutzman in the near future. If you do bond out, it's your obligation to contact your attorney. All right, you're good to go, sir. All right, I'm still waiting for those bindovers, but we'll jump into this one too. Are you Keith Douglas Wallace?
Yes, sir.
This is Judge Middleton. I'm over here at the courthouse. You're there at the jail. Mr. Wallace, you're charged with possession of methamphetamine. We just had one of these a minute ago. So it's a felony, punishable by up to 10 years imprisonment and a fine of up to $15,000. You have a right to have a preliminary examination in that matter, but I understand that you're going to waive the preliminary examination and the matter is going to be bound over to the circuit court. Mr. Nossinger, is that your understanding?
Yeah, and I would like to just mention that the offer is to a possession with a 1-year cap in exchange for the waiver.
All right. You confirm that, Debbie?
That is accurate, Your Honor. Obviously, if there's any further criminal activity or if he bonds out and has any bond violations, that would be revoked.
All right, Mr. Wallace, the language says, I, Keith Douglas Wallace, understand I have a right to employ an attorney. I may request a court-appointed attorney if I'm financially unable to employ one. I have a right to a preliminary examination where it must be shown that a crime was committed and probable cause exists to charge me with the crime. Here we go. I voluntarily waive my right to a preliminary examination and understand that I will be bound over to the circuit court on the complaint and warrant. Is that what you wish to do?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll bind it over to circuit court. It'll be set before Judge Stutzman for a status conference or plea in the near future. All right, you're good to go, sir. I need to see one of the corrections officers if you'd send them my way.
All right.
Yes, sir.
I need Jason Hinn,
Okay.
Daniel Anway, and Robert Russell. No, I don't need Russell. I need Hinn and Anway.
Got it.
All right, thanks.
In your honor, I'm going to ask for a quick Cobb's assessment on Mr. Anway,
All right.
and I can provide further.
Now let me finish the paperwork on the last guy. That's Mr. Wallace. And Mr. Kidd.
Is that better, Judge?
Just a sec, let me see.
You can.
Yeah, that's the way it used to be.
All right, well, tell them not to mess with
Yeah,
us. You're told to just.
All right, that's the way it used to be, and people tell me I'm adverse to change. That's a lot better, thank you.
You're welcome.
Debbie, you don't need to go out there with a hammer. I guess all they did is they just changed the angle of it, and it made that glass reflective, and it showed the thing on the other side.
I was ready with my hammer, so I'm a little disappointed. Are you bringing Mr. Hinn down to let him know what has occurred, or?
Well, I thought we'd better give him some explanation. He's got Luke on one case and John on the other, and John asked to set the thing out for 2 weeks.
Well, I have a conflict in both cases. I'm gonna have to find another attorney for the other case.
Mr. Hinn, is that you?
Yes, it is.
This is Judge Middleton. Boy, you lost a lot of weight since I saw you last. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I've actually put on weight.
What?
I've actually put on weight.
Well, that's probably good. There's two files here, 202355 and 201475. Mr. Luke Knopfinger has appointed to represent you, but he has a conflict. We're appointing Mr. John Bush. John was taking the methamphetamine case, is that correct, Luke?
Yes, and some of this Mr. Hinn doesn't know because just of this, some of this just developed last night. But John,
just a minute.
no.
I had him brought in. I've known Mr. Hinn since he was a high school kid. There's some confusion as to who can represent you, Mr. Hinn, so we made a little bit of record earlier. In this first case, which is 201475, you're charged with possession of methamphetamine. The PEC is set for today. And Luke Knopfinger has a conflict. I'm going to appoint Attorney John Bush. And I find there's good cause for delay. I want to set PEC in that case, pre-exam conference for 4:20 at 9. And a preliminary examination, if needed, will be for 4/27/21 at 1 with Attorney John Bush. Let's see also 202355. All right, that's the meth case. The B&E and the larceny of the building. Let me go to that one. That's file 202355. That alleges that you broke into the Light and Life Wesleyan Church and stole some guitars, computers, and musical equipment. I think they had a DNA match. Let me take a look. That's alleged to have occurred on June 16th of 20, fingerprint match. Mr. Knopfinger has a conflict in representing you on that case. Luke, what's the conflict?
Yeah, I currently represent Amber Carpenter. And then also, in addition to that, Your Honor, I have contacted Melissa Halleck. She has a conflict of interest. Tim George has a conflict of interest. Lori Hines.
Is Amber Carpenter a co-defendant in this case?
She's a witness. Yeah.
Oh. Well, she's got multiple cases, so just a minute. And you just realized this?
No, I realized last week, and I've reached out to Melissa, who has a conflict. Tim George has a conflict. Lori Hines has a conflict. Chris Yancey has a conflict. And then just last night, John Bush indicated he has a conflict. So the only other, trying to figure out where to move forward.
What about Mr. George?
Yeah, Mr. George does.
Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed.
Well, I would assume that because they're in the same office, there would be a conflict. I'm not sure if that can be avoided. And then I have not reached out to Paul Gibson, and I'm not sure if I know there's a new chief public defender. I'm not sure if part of that contract, I'm not sure what happens at this point, to be honest.
All right.
If there's
Amber Carpenter has about 7 charges pending. I'm not sure how is she a witness?
Geez, I took a look at it. last week. There was, I think, well, and I want to be careful here too, because she's included in the police report, and as I read too, that, you know, it's a potential that there could be some criminal charges
All right.
coming her way.
Okay, well, that's certainly an issue. So, Mr. Hand, right now we're trying to get an attorney to represent you that doesn't have a conflict. Mr. Bush agreed to take the other case. We don't yet know whether Mr. Gibson has a conflict, and I'm just going to go out on a limb. Debbie, can you see from whether you're looking at Mr. Gibson represents Amber in any of her cases?
That would take a really long time to go through because I'd have to open each individual one. However, I would think that the new Chief Public Defender, Keith Stickley, wouldn't have any conflicts. So maybe this is a good one for him to start with.
I don't know if his...
Well, I don't even know if he even starts by then. As you learned at the bar meeting yesterday, we don't even know when he begins. So I'm going to appoint Mr. Gibson. And continue the PEC to 4/20/20 at 9. Mr. Hen, we're backing everything up a week because we have to get an attorney that isn't conflicted by representing you and another co-defendant. I'm going to set the PEC and the preliminary examination will be April 27, 21 at 1. So essentially everything's just backed up a week. I find good cause for continuance. So your bond's not reduced.
I did indicate to Josh, I didn't know, because I have a conflict, I was going to inquire as to a bond, because it's unfortunate that it falls on him. He's sitting in jail. He had this bond.
It's all good.
That's just a pity.
Well,
I feel bad.
We'll just leave it there. But he's dealing with this methamphetamine addiction, and he lost weight. Now he's gaining it back. I'm reluctant to make any bond decision without knowing more. So we're just going to adjourn it 1 week. I find good cause in each case. Jason, Judge Pattison will be here next week. He'll be dealing with these. And we got Mr. John Bush is going to come contact you to the jail. I don't yet know. I appointed Mr. Gibson on the other case. All right, you're good to go.
All right, thank you.
All right, now the last dude is missing lunch. Good morning, sir. Are you Daniel L. Anway?
Oh, you're the one and only.
Okay. Well, I don't know you, so maybe there's more than one of you, but I'm Judge Middleton. I'm here at the courthouse. Your lawyer, Luke Knopfinger, is here, and the one and only Deborah Davis is here from the prosecutor's office. You're charged with 3 counts of resisting obstructing a police officer, which are felonies punishable by up to a year in jail and, up to 2 years in jail, fine of up to $2,000. Luke, what's the circumstance here?
Well, there is an offer to 3 attempted resisting obstruction, which are misdemeanors. I was going to ask the court for an initial Cobb's assessment. Knowing that Mr. Anway has pending charges in Indiana, Noble County, and that he has holds for those cases, and that he's a resident of Indiana. I was curious as to the court if could give an initial Cobb's assessment, so that Mr. Anway can make a more informed decision about whether or not the misdemeanor offer is something he wants to take.
Well, every year for the past 6 election cycles, every other year for 12 years, I've taught new judge school. And one of the things I tell the new judges is don't buy a pig in a poke, don't agree to a Cobb's agreement when you don't know one thing about the case, which I don't. So I'm not unwilling to do that, I just don't know anything about it. He's kind of got an attitude this morning. He's got 3 counts of R&O. They feel strongly enough about it to have 3 counts.
Well, I sure should. If I was going to fight somebody, I would out in the streets. And I'm like Henry Sturgis, so I know all about the law. All I need is your guys' name so I can go above you and your Zoomy TV.
All right, well, there's plenty of people above me, so...
oh, yeah, there is.
Your Honor,
Yes?
the offer was to 3 counts of attempted resisting and obstructing, and we were not asking for any additional jail penalty. We would be asking for time served and then allow him to be transferred out to Noble County.
Well, if that's the prosecutor's position, then I'm willing to go along with that. Lou, you want to talk to your client?
Yeah, if we could go out and go in a breakout room.
Mr. Anway, I'm sorry, we're running into lunch hour here, but we got to take care of this business. They'll get you fed. Somebody's phone is going off. Must be his.
That one's mine. Yeah.
All right, you guys talk. Well, let me look at his stuff.
I did confirm the warrants and the holds with the jail.
What are they for?
Resisting a police officer. There's several counts, intimidation.
I think he might be a 2 hour, but I'm not really sure.
Is he at the jail?
Uh-huh.
All right.
His 2 hour mark would be 1 o'clock, but we weren't sure because of what he was. bench warrant was for.
Call the jail. Tell him I'll see him at 1 o'clock.
Do you want to just keep this?
Yeah, lay it on my desk.
Oh, okay.
I got so much stuff in here.
Your Honor, I'm not sure which one you were talking about. Mr. Chapman is going to be
Yes.
resolved with the plea, I believe. The
Yeah.
notes indicate a DV first.
But I don't have that case.
For Chapman?
Jeffrey Chapman?
Yeah, the one that you arraigned yesterday and then you were going to set up for
Yes.
sometime today. It looks like he met with Casey this morning during pre-trials, and it's going to resolve once we get him in for a plea. I believe Mr. Amway also has an open case in LaGrange County for resisting law enforcement, aggressive driving, reckless driving, and driving while suspended.
I don't know, reckless and what else?
Aggressive driving. I mean, I'm not really sure what that is.
I think that's what you do on your way.
I don't aggressively drive.
Way home.
Defensively drive. There you go. But there are some issues. When I looked them up on Indiana My Case, there were some notes.
I'm just gonna do all 3 counts on the same complaint.
Hey, Debbie, could I talk to you in a breakout room?
Sure.
I can't figure out how to.
I could call you too.
Yeah, if you just want to call me, that's fine.
All right.
Do you still have the 269? All right. Judge, I don't know how you want to do that. If you want me to go in a breakout room and, I can just do that.
Well, maybe just, I don't think you need to speak with him separately with this. We'll just, if Judge can close the room, bring it back in.
Back. Welcome back, Mr. Anway. The lawyers talked for a moment. And we're back to your case. The prosecutor has offered to dismiss the 3 felony resisting obstructing charges for a plea to 3 misdemeanor charges of R&O. They're also recommending that I give you time served, which is by my count 17 days jail, and that you be released to the state of Indiana. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement, sir?
What's RO?
Resisting and obstructing a police officer.
So everywhere I go, an officer's going to start holding guns on me. So I got to carry guns in the back for my life, right?
Your Honor.
Your Honor, there has been a change.
No. Oh, okay. What's the change?
After a further review, well, I don't want to speak for Assistant Prosecutor, but after a further review of his Indiana case in Noble County, there may be some competency issues, and I guess I'll defer to you, Debbie.
Sure. Your Honor, I reviewed my case information for his 2019 case. It's still pending out of Noble County, which is the basis of the warrants that he was picked up on here. And it appears that he has failed to appear a couple of times, and the next step for them is to determine whether he needs a competency evaluation. And based on his actions and behaviors today, I don't feel comfortable going forward with this case at this time. We would ask the court, or we would let the court know we're dismissing without prejudice. That way he can be released to Noble County, Indiana, hopefully they can sort out the competency issues. And if we choose to bring this case back at some point in the future, so be it. But for today's purposes, we would dismiss without prejudice.
Mr. Anway, they're going to dismiss this case so you can go back to Indiana and deal with the charges there. So that's a gift. Sign the waiver of extradition and they'll take you back to Indiana and you can deal with your issues there. All right, sir. All right, you're good to go, sir.
Thank you.
All right, hope you get some lunch.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's probably wise there, Debbie. All right, I guess that's all we can do. Is there anybody we missed?
I don't believe so. I think we have everybody taken care of.
All right, how about you, Luke?
He's traumatized, but he'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm a little traumatized. I am.
Well,
yeah.
It was a very busy morning. I got to finish the paperwork here, but I might actually get to eat lunch. I got a couple walk-ins I'm going to do right at 1, and then we have sobriety court this afternoon.
Did you want to handle Mr. Chapman then at 1, or what is your plan for him?
Yeah, I got to do this other guy Singh right at 1. So we'll try to do Mr. Chapman at 1 also, okay?
Okay, I will log.
That's sobriety court staffing time, but we'll start a little late.
All right, well, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Nice to
Yeah,
see
no
you.
problem. Take care.
Nice to see you, Judge. Thanks.
Thank you. And I'll release the jail room, which is much better. Release Mr. Marvin. All right, let me finish the paperwork here. Where did we forget, Lou?
We didn't forget anything.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why I walked off there, but.
All right, we're all set?
Yeah, we're all set. Yeah.
All right, thanks. All right, that ends our morning, which has been very busy. We've been in here for a full 4 hours.